Hello, champions. Here is your Dr. C, Dr. Leonard Coldwell, and I hope you're having a wonderful day because this is the only day we got. That's the only day you got. So you need to turn it into a wonderful event. You need to live in the here and now. One of the basics of health and success and wellness is to learn to live not in the past, not in the future or for the future, and live in the here and now and create a future the way you want it to be. My dear friends, the main problem in health, healing, healthcare is that nobody really knows what they are doing because everything is based on indoctrination, brainwashing for the benefits of the pharmaceutical industry or medical industry. Realistically, we are healthy, we are born healthy, and we are fine. And that from that moment on, the entire environment, our entire world, is basically bombarding us with all kinds of negativity, with all kinds of threats to our health, well-being, mentally or emotionally or physically. And we all need to learn to manage our life, our day, because we are born without a user manual. We are perfect, but we have no user manual. So we're trying all of our life, all the time. We're just trying to figure out how things work, what's right or wrong, and what we should and shouldn't do in regards of our health. That's why I invented the instinct-based medicine system, IBMS, so that you know what to do, because you have an ingrained user manual, and that's controlled by your subconscious mind and your instinct. I believe your instinct is God talking to you, and I believe that our instinct cannot be wrong. I've never heard with curing 66,000 patients from autoimmune disease or other illness that somebody listened to their instinct and went wrong. It was always the opposite. They said, I wish I would have listened to my gut. I wish I would have listened to my instinct. I knew it's not the right thing to do, but I did it anyway, and now I'm in deep trouble. So basically, you know what you should eat and you shouldn't eat. You eat something, you have the feeling, I shouldn't really eat this, you will pay the price. You will feel when you have cravings and you eat whatever you crave, because your cravings means this is what your body needs for recovery, for healing, for living, for well-being. Then you feel fulfilled, you feel relieved, you feel good. That's what you should feel, good. You should feel good. In general, you just should feel good every single day, 24 hours a day. And everything else is not what your life is supposed to be. I don't want to give it a religious touch because I do not believe in organized religion. I think organized religion is just there to take away our power, our money, and take control of our lives, our thinking. And therefore, I'm a big believer in God. I know there is a God, but I don't believe that a priest or however they call themselves knows what we should do better than we do. Nobody does that. You're the only one that has to live with your consequences of your actions. So basically, let me start out how I always start out with my life seminars. You are where you are today based on the decisions you made and the decisions you didn't make, the actions you took, and most of all the actions you didn't take. So that's why you need to readjust your focus, whether you want to be. Let's say you could have everything you want to have. It's like the Aladdin and the lamp and the genie with the 3 wishes. Imagine you have the possibility to change everything in your life that you want to change for the better. What would you change? How would you change it? What would you change it to? And then write it down and then make an action plan. How can I achieve this? How can I make this real? And this is what you really need to understand. The second you whatever you focus on is where you get. That's why when you have the there can be like a lonely road, nobody else is on there, and the person with a sports car is getting in trouble, and there's only one tree on this entire road, and that's where he end up, on this one tree with his car, because sorry, where he doesn't want to go is where he's focusing on. He doesn't want to hit the tree. So he focuses on the tree, and where you focus is where you get. So basically, this is how life works. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad for you. And if you are really focusing on something consciously or subconsciously, or if you're manipulated or brainwashed to think in a certain way or expect a certain thing, like in fall or winter, there's supposedly a flu season. So that basically the flu starts with the first advertisement for flu medication. So now you are focused on getting the flu, getting the medication, and your focus is indirectly put in that direction. So whenever you see something negative, don't focus on it. Look at it, accept it, or do something about it if you can, or forget about it if you want to, but do not focus on an accident, on somebody being hurt. Do not focus on that somebody maybe just have gotten paralyzed in a car accident. Do not focus on anything you don't want. Focus on you're strong, you're powerful, you love your life, you love yourself. And always rely on yourself. You are the only one that has to live with the consequences of your decisions and your actions, or non-decisions and non-actions. Nobody else. Somebody says, hit your thumb with a hammer. You hit your thumb with a hammer, you have the pain, you have the broken thumb, you have the problem. And they don't care, or they even may laugh about it. And this is what's really, really important, what you really need to understand. A doctor has basically really no consequences of maldiagnosis, a false diagnosis, false treatment, because it's not them, it's not their child, it's not their spouse. They would be completely different, or reacting and acting completely different, if it's one of their family members instead of yours. People have the tendency to not care about others, even if they do, with all those Christianity hoaxes, oh, I forgive and I love everybody else. It's not true. First of all, you cannot love everybody else, because you cannot love somebody that you don't know. Love is developed. Love doesn't exist. So I talked to over 66,000 of my patients, and everybody that was married said, I fell in love with my spouse a year after we've been married. So all the struggles we went through, so all the things we did together and overcame together, love develops. So you need to learn to love yourself. I need you, if you really want to go the IBMS route, to write down every great thing you ever did, everything you achieved, every result you produced. If you made it through first grade, second grade, if you made it through any tests, whatever it might be, everything that was good or you could be proud of, if you wanted to, write down every single thing. You achieved certain things in sports, or you were the fastest runner, or whatever it might be. It can be as tiny and as big as you want to, but write down what are the things I could be proud of if I wanted to. Write it down and focus on it. Focus on the good things you did. Do not believe in anybody else's opinion. Nobody knows you. You're the only person that knows you. That's so important to understand. If somebody says, oh, this person has never amount to anything, how does he know? Nobody knows what you're capable of doing. I have a massage therapist who is one of the greatest massage therapists I ever had. And she constantly repeats, yeah, I wish my father could see me now with what I have, what I achieved, because he always said, I'm never going to amount to anything in my life. I will never really be anybody, anything. And this lady is about 50 years old and still haunted by her father's curse, basically telling her she's a loser and she will always be a loser. Nobody is a loser. Everybody, my very first book was called and the translation would be You're Born to Succeed. In English, it's called You're Born to be a Champion, You're Born to be a Winner. Because you are born perfect. And this is what you really need to focus on. The moment you are born, you already have the most dangerous 9 months in a human existence, the growing part in your mom's body behind you. And at the moment of birth, billions of microbes attack your little body, and your entire immune system, your entire existence, your energy, everything is just fighting off whatever attacks this little body at the moment of birth. So you survived the birth, you survived the 9 months. You are already a winner. You have already proven you are strong. You are a champion. And this is what I teach in my seminars. I had over 9 million live seminar attendees in my seminars. And everybody understood after the end of the seminar, they are born to win. They are not born for mediocrity. God does not create mediocrity. God does not create losers. Losers are created, whether we do it to us ourselves or let the environment do it to us. And based on the Harvard study that said we all have heard 184,000 times to the age of 18, no, you cannot do that, you're too small, you're too tall, you're too big, you're too fat, you're too skinny, you are a girl and you can't, and you're a man and you can't. Whatever it might be, we have heard we are not capable, we cannot. And I'm here, my dear friends, to tell you, yes, of course you can. Believe me, I have seen it, I have done it. I overcame pretty much every illness you can come up with, from gallbladder stones, 168 gallbladder stones, and therefore a damaged liver, stomach ulcers, colon ulcers. I had a contact allergy where if a shirt would just touch my skin, I looked like I fell in poison ivy. And the medical profession said if you have it for 3 months, it will never go away. And of course, it went away. I had a horseback riding accident and I was in a wheelchair for 4 months. And they said, you're never going to walk again. And I said, just watch me. And this is what I want you to do. Whatever happens to you, it doesn't matter what somebody else is saying. What you say is important. They say you cannot be cured, you have an incurable disease. There is no such thing as an incurable disease. There is no such thing as an inherited disease. Cancer is not genetic in any way, shape, or form. It's complete BS. The medical profession doesn't know anything. It doesn't have no idea about healing. It has no idea about correct diagnosis. Yes, they have all these tests, but tests and test tubes and test results of your blood, of your urine, of whatever it might be, doesn't mean anything because it changes. If you want to have a perfect testing of your liver, you would have had to have taken blood every 5 minutes and then take an average over 24 hours to find out what your real liver levels are, because just as one moment in time, you could have just eaten something, you drank something that messes everything up at this moment in time. So it needs to be the right moment where all the blood is taken, and you cannot just randomly say, okay, 9 o'clock in the morning, be here, we draw your blood, and then we figure out what's going on in your blood, in your body. It doesn't work that way. It's just trial and error. It's just we hope, we don't know, and this is what you get from the medical profession. Ask your doctor, what do I have? How did I get it? How can it be cured? And how long will it take to be cured? They have no answer. They will not give you an answer because they don't have it. That's why they have a secret language, like the priests, the churches. They speak Latin so that you don't understand, that they don't know either, and what they say to each other. Isn't that very, very strange to begin with? Shouldn't knowledge be open and everywhere? When my mom was diagnosed about 50 years ago with a fatty liver, liver cirrhosis, hepatitis C, and liver cancer in a terminal state, they said she has a maximum of 6 months to live, to learn to live with the pain and make the best out of the last 6 months she has left. And I said, there must be a solution. There must be a cure. And they said, no, nobody ever got cured from liver cancer in a terminal state, ever. And there's nothing we can do. And I said, but has there ever been anybody that was that sick and got healthy and is still alive? No, not that we know of. See, that's kind of like the problematic in the medical profession. They just look at studies that other people did or cases that happened beforehand, and that's how they make their decisions. It has nothing to do with you. There is no individuality in diagnostics. There is no individuality in creating a prognosis or creating a therapy plan. And the therapy plan must always involve you. I have seen people gotten put by their doctors on horrible diets so that they said, I'd rather die than living this way for the rest of my life. First of all, I don't believe in diets. I don't believe that it's a good thing, because if you are unhappy with the way you live or they make you live, with the diet they put you on, you might die because of that and not because of your health condition. You need to be happy. The happier you are, see, if you are happy and you eat and you are happy, you eat happiness. Everything you eat will be good in your body. So if you eat a cake, eat it and enjoy it. But if you go there and say, oh, I shouldn't really eat this, it's going to make me fat, I'm going to feel bad afterwards, and then you eat it, that's exactly what's going to happen. Accept what you do. Do not make a compromise against yourself. If you don't want to live with a diet, don't live with a diet. And you can be eating smart in certain health conditions. Of course, when you have diabetes, you know what to do, what not to do. And if they tell you diabetes is not curable, it is curable, and I have seen it. And Dave, our staff manager, he worked for a company that sold only completely clean whole foods. And he has seen that a lot of people told him after 2 years on that diet, their diabetes was gone. And also, there are great researchers with great colleagues out there, like Dr. Brian Ardis, who I believe talked about the cure for diabetes. And then, of course, a great Mike Adams at brighteon.com, has a lot of great solutions, or colleagues or interviewees that talk about great cures for everything. I personally have cured every single patient in my life from whatever they had. I have, based on 2 independent studies done, a cancer cure rate of 92.3%. The medical profession has one of 1 to 3%, and this is just by luck, because they don't cure anybody, they just kill everybody with chemo, radiation, and surgery. If people survive cancer within the medical treatment, then it's not because of it, it's in spite of it. I personally learned to not take patients on that have been pre-murdered by the medical profession. And this is, I basically have a 100% cure rate of these patients. And at the beginning, the first 10 years in office, in my clinic, I didn't know I cannot cure somebody or help somebody to get cured that is too much damaged by the treatment or the medical profession, or even mentally, emotionally, due to medical voodoo, that they tell them you have 3 months to live and then they focus on it. And then there were studies that concluded if you like your doctor, you die young, because if he tells you you have 3 months to live, you do not want to prove your doctor wrong because you like him. So you basically, of course it's subconsciously, you basically die within that time frame. So I call it medical voodoo. They don't know how long you live, they are not God, and they have not the slightest idea. They have not the slightest idea about health and healing, and they cannot cure anybody. No medical doctor has ever cured a cancer patient in his life. It's not possible. They don't. I have cured more than 66,000 cancer patients, patients with autoimmune diseases, and I had the before and after hospital documentation always available for everybody that was scrutinizing what we are doing in my timeout, or my timeout system is was a franchise I created and then sold very successfully, where we basically helped people in 20 minutes a day to calm down from all the stresses in life. Because nearly all illness is based on stress. The root cause of every illness, of every disease, or young early dying is lack of energy. And stress is the main cause of lack of energy, and chronic stress is the main cause of things like cancer or other autoimmune diseases, because you have to be lacking energy on a high level, and that's chronically, meaning permanently, on a long term, to get so down that your immune system is not capable, it doesn't have the energy that drives the fuel to do its normal job. Our immune system is so strong that it even overcame, in a lot of cases, the deadly injections we have gotten, or most of you have gotten, during this hoax pandemic. And the hoax pandemic was half of medical voodoo. If you get this kind of disease, you're going to have these kind of symptoms, and then you're going to die. Now we know there was a huge financial incentive for the hospitals and doctors to diagnose somebody with a certain kind of flu, or flu format. And if they die of it, then the hospitals got altogether $55,000 per patient. And I think that caused a lot of medical voodoo. Medical voodoo is that there is no cure. if you have cancer, you have to do chemo, radiation, and surgery, which is complete BS. Chemo never cured anybody. Chemotherapy is based on mustard gas. Mustard gas is one of the most toxic, deadliest weapons that has been created in the Second World War to kill soldiers, or even in the First World War, to kill soldiers on the battlefield. And it's forbidden to use it to kill soldiers after the Geneva Convention. And this is basically what you get into your bloodstream, something that's based on this outrageous toxin, a poison. And how can this be good? So let's use a little bit of common sense. At least for me, since I was a little kid, I heard radiation is bad. You should not get radiated, over-radiated. You shouldn't get an X-ray if you don't absolutely have to. And that radiation is harming you or can kill you. And then all of a sudden, you get something like radiation therapy, which means they burn away with radiation, like say a tumor or whatever they want to burn away. But they have to get to the tumor, and they burn everything on that way towards the growth they want to burn. And there are internal scars, and these internal scars have the tendency to build cancerous cells within them. So how can you believe if somebody is slaughtering the breast of a woman and cutting off the lymph system, the lymph nodes, basically the main part of the physical immune system, the lymph system? And as I always want to make sure that you understand, you have 4 times more lymph liquid than blood. Your lymph liquid needs to flow all the time. The lymph nodes need to clean the lymph liquid. And so taking the lymph nodes out, no matter for what reason, cannot be right. You cannot cut somebody's finger off and say, now this finger will not hurt anymore. Or they are the complete loonies. They are so afraid of dying. Usually they're worthless people. It makes no difference to anybody else if they die. They are the most afraid of dying. And they are literally worthless people. They are so selfish, they are so hysterical, neurotic, and you find them in politics, and you find them very often in these demonstrations where there's violence and hysterical screaming and attacking people. And most of them are literally worthless to anybody. They have no value for life, for humanity, for their neighbors, for people that they know. And these people are the worst in being afraid of dying because their soul is so empty that they have the feeling they are not reborn, the soul doesn't move on. And that's why they try to cling on this life. And you need to understand, life is never over. Energy cannot be destroyed. This is just a law of physics. Energy cannot be created and cannot be destroyed, but energy can be transformed. And the moment we die, our soul leaves our body. That's why worldwide people lose an average of 21 grams the moment they die. What is this weight? It's the weight of the soul. The soul, the moment you are born, the moment you are dying, you are having access to the collective consciousness, as Einstein called it, and you know everything. You pick the parents you want to be born to, you pick the best possibility to grow and develop in your next life, and that's where you go. And we are not supposed to, or wouldn't be smart to pick the easiest. It's important to pick the parents that make us grow the most. The only reason for living, my dear friends, is permanently growing. The only reason for living is personal growth and development. There is no other reason. Why am I here? Why am I born? All of this doesn't really matter. It doesn't exist. To grow and develop, that's why life or God gives us chances all the time. And these chances we very often call problems. Very often these hurdles in life are there for us to learn to jump higher, to develop better, and the soul potential stays with us forever. Everything we learn and understand in this life, and I don't mean cognitive learning, it's not about math or whatever, it's about what we understand about life, about ourselves, about good or bad, that stays with us forever. That's why people say somebody's an old soul. They feel that this person has accumulated a lot of wisdom and knowledge over his periods of lifetimes. So life is not over. I never understood why people are so afraid of dying. Uh, there's no big thing about dying. You die, you're gone. You move on and you restart. And it's like people that know they have no value, they cling on to to this life and the material things, and then so many people have no confidence or self-confidence that they abuse and use other people or destroy them even for their own comfort. So you might have had somebody that's 400 pounds heavy, heavily obese, and in many cases disgusting looking. So nobody looks at this woman, nobody wants this woman, and then somebody passes by her, and because there is no space, maybe touches her body somehow a little bit, and she starts screaming, rape, abuse, he touched me, because this woman wants to have some kind of confirmation she has a value as a woman, and that's why they do these fake accusations. Oh yeah, he desires me, he wants me. That's why when he walked by, he rubbed on my butt with his butt. And a lot of people have been basically destroyed through these kind of false accusations because somebody's self-esteem is so low that they have to look for something artificial or a lie to, for themselves and others, act like they have some kind of a value in attraction, a value as a woman, whatever it might be. So instead of getting attractive, getting fit, getting healthy, and being attractive, they rather chose to do all this hysterical, neurotic, fake stuff to make themselves feel better about themselves by destroying other people. The American justice system is the biggest BS there is. There is no justice in America. There might be laws, and most of them are BS, but there is no justice. Just the fact that you can pick judges, that you um, have the possibility to run into a judge that is against you from the beginning because you look better, you are stronger, you are richer, and he might try to, with his little brain, to cut you down to his loser standards. And if you fall in the hands of this kind of a judge, it can be really, really bad. That there is no control for judges, that there is no way to sue a judge. Why you should be able to sue a judge if he does something illegal, unlawful, unconstitutional. But very often, what happens is you want to sue a judge, it doesn't really work because of the law. But on the other hand, you don't find a lawyer that goes after these kind of judges because they say, I have to live in this jurisdiction with this judge for the rest of my work life. You're coming and going. You're just one client, and but I have to be careful. I have to think about all these consequences for me, and this is basically already betraying the client to begin with. And there should never be just one judge court. there should be a minimum of 3 judges, and there also should be a review every year of every judge, what they did. And the second their rulings get reversed more than 3 times, they should be thrown off the bench, because obviously they are incompetent and they don't know what they are doing. If you look at the things that have been done against President Trump, with these rogue judges, I'm not a political person. I don't really care. I only care about personal freedom and personal health freedom. So whatever they are doing in politics is their thing. I think the word politician should be a curse word from the beginning, because I've never met a politician that, oh yeah, I've met one actually, and South Carolina Congressman Joe Wilson is the only politician I ever met that kept his word, that does his job, and is a really, really great person. But on the other hand, I consulted for nearly all of the largest companies in the world, the CEOs, the owners, and a lot of high-power politicians worldwide. And all they're trying to think about is how to stay in power. There's nobody really that I met on this higher level that was really willing to sacrifice, if needed, his own career, his own safety, his own position for the job they are hired or been elected to, because we always need to remember all we are born with is we are born with the fear of falling, the fear of loud noises, and the survival instinct. And the survival instinct at the end of the day is pure selfishness and egotism. Me, and how do I survive and what's in it for me? That's kind of like the main problem, mainly also in politics, that there's not an us thinking. We see a good we thinking in old tribal constructions, like the Native American Indians had, or in tribal situations worldwide, where to learn about natural healing, I traveled an entire summer with gypsies, and it was very interesting how I learned about natural healing that's thousands and thousands of years old, endless generations given to the next generation. And I could cure a lot of patients with the knowledge I gained out of this summer traveling with these wonderful friends I had. And so what I learned is, if you stick together, nothing can really happen. So let's say they all go somewhere and buy all together a huge amount of a product. And because they all come together and buy at the same company, they get a tremendously great price. And then they go out and sell it. And so if somebody in this group, in this family, sells something today, he shares it with everybody else in his family. And if he doesn't sell anything next day, it's not a problem. Somebody in the family will sell and shares the profit with him and all the others in the family. I learned also by training for the largest companies in the world. I'm the most efficient, most successful personal development and success performance coach and trainer in the world, based on the people that really matters, that really have seen all the trainers, have seen all the impact. And the greatest of the greatest in business said, Dr. Coldwell is the only one that produces real results. And after he leaves, after the seminars, people get better and better and better. It doesn't stop there. His motivational seminars are lifelong motivation because he gives people tools and understanding about themselves. And this is why I focus on you with everything I do. And I learned in my life success is always a result of effective team play. Nobody makes it in life alone. There's no such thing as a self-made millionaire because where have been the family members that helped? Where have been the cleaning lady that made it possible he could get in his office, he or she? And where are all the other people that helped along the way, the secretaries and maybe the managers or the investors? Success is always a result of effective team play, believe me. I have seen it, and after 9 million people in my live seminars, the comments and what people tell me, usually people always come up in the ways, get their books signed, and give me a hug and tell me certain specific, significant things in their lives or what my seminars or my work did for them. And I always can tell people that really are going to make it big. And people that are going to make it big are always proud of themselves, proud of their success. They look full of excitement into the future. This is what you need to do. Somebody tells you you have 3 months to live, you just say, okay, I meet you in a year and you pay my dinner. Don't take things in. Don't let it have an impact on you. This is basically what the main problem is with medical voodoo. Somebody says you're incurable and you believe it, you're as good as dead. Okay, my dear friends, that's basically what it is for now. We're going to go on with the training for IBMS. If you want individualized IBMS training, please write me an email, ibms@drleonardcoldwell.com, or see my website, drleonardcoldwell.com, doctor spelled out, and get always the newest information. Sign up for our newsletter, and we're going to have a lot of fun together. Be healthy, be happy, and I see you soon, your Dr. C.